All right, everybody, we're going to get started with our last talk of the night. So if everybody can get back, quiet down, we're going to get going here. Silly Peter guy not listening to me. Yeah, right. All right, so everybody, please. What's the time? So another something about GoKid at the New York Times. Talk titles. So everybody, thank you for coming again. Welcome, JP. Let's get going with the second talk. Thanks. Hello.
Is on? Can you hear me? Excellent. Real tight. All right in the back there? Okay. So, hi again. I'm JP Robinson. I'm a principal software engineer at the New York Times, and I am someone who has drank Peter's Kool-Aid. I'm good, thank you. Let's see. Today, I'm going to try to talk about how I got into the GoKid game and how we use it at the New York Times. So I guess starting way back, I guess Peter's timeline started in early 2015. I guess right before he wrote the RFC, he had given a talk about it. Is that right, Peter? Yes, I think so. And I remember I was like going around my house listening to Peter talk about this thing, about a kit for microservices for reusable things for the enterprise of Go, or at least enterprise companies. And he starts talking a bit more about how there's a lot of like hockey stick style growth on companies, and how, you know, in order to be able to build things properly, or at least to build things quickly and to concentrate on the business side of things, you need at least a common way of doing things. And if you have a common way of doing things in a very large amount of engineers, then they don't really have to think about odd things, and they can just concentrate on the business problem at hand. So as that started, it was also an RFC. So as I listened to it, I at least tried to figure out, you know, what are the bits that I can use to help my company. And it just give an idea about growth at the New York Times. I mean, beyond the Trump bump, which was obvious. But even back then, I started in 2011, and we had maybe a little over 100 engineers, like at least core development. And now I think we have over 400 or 500 engineers working in the company. And in that time, we've tried to consolidate on technologies. We went from, we were at least a very service-oriented architecture at the company, but we were also very siloed architectures. There wasn't much being shared. And you'll see that in a lot of what we try to do with Gizmo, was that we're trying to find little bits of trying to bring it together and try to have something that was a little bit more of a complementary package for GoKit, where we could meet in the middle. But get more of an idea about how we're using it at the New York Times. We've got it, Go is running in production right now for at least personalization, so that's like your reading list, your saved articles, and a ton of like multi-arm bandit and all sorts of things underneath the hood. We've got it for our messaging and email systems, where we don't quite send out SendGrid numbers, but it's like, you know, 3 to 4 billion emails a year that we track and send. We do analytics ingestion. We do a thing at the New York Times called guides now, like how to visit the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The back end for that's all Go. The cooking team, which is another new paid product that is also starting to get in the game of writing Go for some back-end development. The My Account pages, so all of the back-end pages if you're visiting My Account at the New York Times for all your personal preferences, that's all back-end on the Go. What else? Interactive News uses it for here and there on Glue for some of their larger projects and infrastructure. Our SRE team, by far, is definitely very much using it. And I now am mainly using it for games at the New York Times. So I'm working on the New York Times Crossword, which is a wonderful product that I find. It's very fun. If you can solve the crosswords, I'm a Monday guy. I can barely get by that. We do have a mini puzzle. It's a 5x5 that's daily. I find it's a perfect little minute puzzle, but it's free. It's nice. But we sync that progress across devices and do all sorts of stats and all sorts of analysis and aggregation on your data. So Go has been very good for us. But like I said, as we have grown, we needed to consolidate and have some common way of doing things. So as Peter was going into his talks, I guess, do we have the non-goals? Yes. So I was trying to figure out how can I meet GoKit, you know, down the line at some point here. So I started looking at what do we have for non-goals? Well, supporting messaging other than RPC, that's fine. For our company, we actually do a lot of event sourcing. So For me, that came into, well, we can probably do a pub sub type package. Not necessarily as using it as our main transport, or at least event sourcing for asynchronous talking. We also do re-implement functionality that could be provided by adapting existing software. So that was actually what Gizmo intended to be, is that, you know, not necessarily trying to build something new, not necessarily trying to build a server, but trying to find a few select pieces of software like Gorilla Mux and GoKit and kind of bring them together. And we originally started with Logris for our logging and having opinions or operational concerns. For me, as I was trying to consolidate us, and I had all this wide variety of things. I have some people using Graphite, some people using Prometheus, some people running in data centers we have a lease on, some people are running on Amazon, and then have some people using Jenkins, some people using Drone CI. At least we need to find a common ground. So what I try to do with Gizmo, back over here, is try to find a few packages that allow us to bring this together, give us that common structure, so that we could build a common structure from common tools and then just worry about the business going forward. Right. So growth, we made Gizmo non-goals. So initial iterations, this obviously came out before a lot of GoKit was available, so we ended up, like I said, using Logris for our initial logger, and not necessarily using GoKit for the server itself, using more of like say Gorilla, but some people wanted to use different routers, so at least we had to do common forms to make things look similar, so that if one person goes from one project to another, or from one team to another, they know exactly where their entry point is, they know exactly the idioms, they know basically the style guide is built through our common tools. So time has gone on, and finally, GoKit packages became more and more mature. We started deciding to integrate more and more. So if you look into actually Gizmo's server, it's actually built of metrics, which are using GoKit's metrics. This is where I had to build the metrics provider within GoKit, which I imagine probably will go away sometime soon. I don't know. It'll get upgraded. First class thing. All right. Well, that was the idea, is that we wanted to be able to make, you know, you just want to care about a counter, you want to care about a histogram, you just want to get that information so that you can use it and have some kind of insight on how your system is performing, which is very, very important. So now, I guess, as of today, I guess as time has gone on, I feel like I've tried to keep our packages in line with Peter's best practices. So as time has gone on, I try to think, if you look into our packages, they have started to look more and more like GoKit. So for instance, if you look into our PubSub package, you'll see that it has like the exploded version of all the different PubSub implementations. We've got everything from AWS for SNS and SQS. We've got GCP, PubSub, plain old HTTP if you want to publish things just over HTTP. We've got Kafka. And then we've got like a little test module that helps people that if they just want to build things quickly, and then if they need to swap from environment to environment, this has also been very helpful. Because I'm not sure if it has been public at this point, but the New York Times is currently in the process of moving all product development over to Google Cloud from a mix of Amazon and some of our own data centers. So having these abstractions in here already, it's actually made life very, very nice for us. Like I said, people can really just pick up one program and drop it off elsewhere. And the actual business logic did not have to change. A lot of ums here, sorry everybody. So I guess at this time now, more and more of our developers started integrating with GoKit beyond our having metrics embedded into our systems. Some developers started doing a lot of client creation for the HTTP clients. There's actually a very nice setup. I don't have any examples of it in here. But if you want to make an HTTP client, GoKit has a very nice set of composable tools that also allow you to really abstract out your business layer from the actual transport layer. As you find, that can be very helpful as you want to move from one environment to another. A big thing for us, if you consider one environment to another, as we move to Google Cloud, is that we are also looking a lot and using a lot of App Engine at the New York Times for quick iterations, for quick scaling, to just say that you can build something and have it on a public URL with HTTPS in minutes. Yeah. It's great. Great. Thank you, Stephen. Made my life nice. So on top of that, we've also, if I can get to the link over here, today I actually open sourced Marvin. It's still got a little bit of cleaning up to do, but in general, it's using lots of GoKit idioms. And now that App Engine is 1.8 capable, I was actually able to remove all of my nasty pins for GoKit from like 7 months ago. It felt so good. I spent 2 days doing it, and it was a good time. It was a good time, everybody. And now we're able to open source this thing. So honestly, if you're interested in using GoKit on App Engine to develop things, I highly recommend giving it a look. And this is more of just taking Peter's tools and the GoKit tools and trying to compose them into something that looks similar to our Gizmo setup. I guess I should probably, to give you an idea, you don't have my, everybody got that GoDoc bookmarklet set up on their stuff? Nobody know about that? Go to a GitHub. Boop, there we go. And what the idea is that it tries to, similar to Gizmo, try to give you just a composed setup of what a service would look like. I'm sorry, I'm thrown off by this reversed somebody else's laptop. That's always how it is. The idea is that it gives you middleware. I always want to look to that side. Or looks to this side. Middleware, options, router options, anything you might want to do to actually hook into a server but still deal with your business in a separate world. It's actually been very nice. Like I said, if you can build this, you can just pick it up and then drop it elsewhere with another Kit server. As we've integrated further, Gizmo has also built its own Kit server within server. There's another one here that I don't think this is going to easily get to GoDoc. But same idea that you provide your endpoints with some additional encoders and decoders. If you have just JSON, for example, it will just use that encoder for you. So the idea is that if you are using a common setup with JSON, it actually will remove a lot of the work for you and will lean on GoKit as much as you can. Right, so highly recommend if you're interested in Gizmo or GoKit or App Engine to take a look at these libraries. What else? So yeah, future for all this stuff. I plan on at least adding more middlewares, or at least even more options for GoKit middlewares in our servers moving forward. And really, more and more teams are moving to Go. Right, that was a really bad ending. But any questions, anybody? Nobody? What you got, Peter?
This is great. This is always how I intended GoKit to be used. That is like embedded in your own company's NYT kit or whatever, where you encode your own conventions and whatever you need to do for whatever infrastructure you're running on. It's exactly the model I had in mind, and everyone should do it also.
Thank you, Peter. All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, that is all for our talks tonight. Thank you both, Peter and JP. Like, great talks, awesome to hear about them. It is 7:54. We have till 9, but we should be out of here by like 8:30, 8:45. There's some beer left. Finish it off. Drink some water too. That would be great. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thanks to all of my fellow organizers. It takes a lot of work to put something like this on. And this turnout is insane and awesome, and I'm super proud of it. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thanks to all of us who organized it. Thank you, guys.